And we are live. All right. So welcome, replay viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I appreciate you tuning in to today's broadcast. I'm Stan Shields, your marketing automation solutions guy. Now, if you've not already done it, please make sure you like me on wherever you're watching, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope. So we're broadcasting live in 3 different locations today. Now, today's broadcast is a discussion with Coach Joy Huntsman, and how she has pivoted amid COVID-19. Now, Joy is the founder of Joy and Associates, a global personal development company, lifestyle brand, and high vibe community for ambitious men and women who want it all. Their mission is to educate, inspire, and motivate people all over the world to create a joyous, fulfilling life. So now, Coach Joy, tell us a little bit more about what it is specifically that you do. That was a mouthful. So tell us what that really means.
So I love my job, and my job is to help people get what they want. They set the agenda. And sometimes people are really clear on what they want, and they just don't know the strategy. Sometimes they're clear on what they want, and they don't believe that they can have what they want. So people who are stuck, want to move forward, want something different in their life, whether it's personally or professionally, that's what I work on. And I have a belief that people who feel good about themselves produce the best results. So it starts with really making sure that whoever I'm working with, they have a real good relationship with themselves.
Now, that is a biggie, because I tell you, as I look at people in the world today, and even in my own situation, I've gone through phases where I didn't really feel all that good about myself. And, you know, quite often we tend to define ourselves by the work that we do or the job that we have. And if we no longer are in those roles, then we feel less than worthy. We feel less than valuable. We feel less than maybe what we should about ourselves, right? So how do you deal with that then? If somebody comes to you and they're in that state, what happens?
So I remind people of their value and their worth. They came in, when they were born, they had value and worth. Okay, you come with that already. And you come with a lot of things that you're probably not aware of and you take for granted, like you're born with courage. You're born with the ability to make changes, and you're born with the ability to be curious. And depending on the tribe that raised you and your life's experiences, you forget how brilliant and smart and courageous you are. You begin to believe what other people tell you. And so pretty soon, instead of going to yourself, which is where your wisdom lies, you're seeking guidance and answers from other people, wanting to please other people. So it starts with getting back connected to oneself. And I believe that all of us are born with an answer channel, if you will, our own personal guidance system, kind of like a GPS in a car or your cell phone. And all you have to do is ask yourself, what is it you really, really, really want? And how do you feel about it? And then pay attention to the feelings that come up. Pay attention to what comes over you. Most people don't do that. They look outside of themselves. They look to other people for guidance. And they can kind of get lost in the shuffle. When you go to yourself and you have a great result, you get to own it. Okay. And if you don't have a great result, you get a chance to learn from it and say, wow, that was an extraordinary experience. If you do something that kind of goes against what you think is right for yourself and you try to please other people and it goes well, you have that nagging belief in the back of your head that it went well because of them. You don't get to own it, 100%. And if it goes wrong, then you get to be the victim. You blame them because it went wrong. And so that's the secret right there. The secret to living your life without regrets is to always seek counsel from within.
I'll tell you I'll tell you what some of what you just said brought up for me. And that was something that, gosh, I don't even know how long ago it was now. I'm going to say somewhere between 5 and 7 years ago. I was working with a coach, and one of the things that came up was this, I guess maybe it was a need or a desire or what, that I was seeking permission from someone, right? And it was weird because as we started to dig deeper and we started to find what is it that's standing in the way, what is it that seems to be a hindrance to moving forward, there was this underlying subconscious belief that I needed permission.
Right. And that can happen when we have a strong, usually it's a parental influence of somebody that was really working on winning over their approval, their acceptance. We want to show them that we're okay, that we can do it, that we're smart and bright and brilliant. Okay. And we could be competing against something from the back, from our background, and that person could not even be here anymore. It could be long gone.
Yes.
No, having this drive and to move forward, trying to get their permission, and in many ways, the critical self, that criticism that pops up, or the fear that pops up, it's like we have now taken over their job, and we're now criticizing ourselves, or we're now the taskmaster. That happens a lot. Sometimes too, it can be, I had a client last night, and she's bright and brilliant, and she's working on her medical career. And she says, I'm just in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. And I don't want to make a mistake, and I don't know what to do. And so it was like, So then as the session evolved, she talked about she has an older sister that's 12 and a half years older than her, that's also in a medical career and doing wonderfully well. And then she talked about her dad, but that's the only person she talked about. She just wanted to, make sure that she could, something about her dad. And so it was like the message I got was, and I asked her, is there a fear related to your dad that you're not going to be successful as your sister before he passes on? Is that the fear that's, and she just busted out in tears, it was like, and we landed on it. It was like, oh my gosh. And so she came up with her own results, or her own action steps, which is what we want our clients to do. And she says, I need to have a conversation with my dad. I was like, okay. So, yeah.
Wow. So there's so many things that you just said in there that we could kind of go down those paths as well. But I'm going to come back on track here of part of what we want to talk about today is COVID-19, kind of an impact it's had on your business and how you operate. So maybe tell us how you operated as a coaching business prior to COVID-19, and then what was the pivot? What was the shift? Now what do you do?
So what I did, others can do. And what I did is, previous to COVID, I did live workshops and seminars. So I would go out and I would find a location, I would enroll it, I would organize my facilitators, I would go and get the handout and the materials printed out, everything ready. Okay. I do all the logistics stuff. And then I would get to the seminar room ahead of time and get everything set up, check out all my equipment, and we were ready to go. So I had a workshop scheduled to happen in February. And it just so happened in the beginning of February, I got sick. Never been sick like this before. I came back negative on COVID, but whatever it wasn't like anything I'd ever known before. So I was sick for a couple of almost a month and a half. Okay, so by the time I called all my clients, all my students, and told them what had happened, changed the dates, everything was good. And then I got better and I was ready to do the workshop, and everything got shut down. So it is, okay, now what do you do? So COVID for me turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Because what happened is, and I always believe there's a blessing, a lesson, or a gift in anything. You just have to search for it. So for me, what happened is I had to take my course, and I said, okay, well, Joy, do you want to give the money back? Don't think so. Okay, so then what can you do? Well, we can take a live workshop and create a series of webinars that will produce the same information, work with the same group of people. They'll do some of the same exercises. And I was very concerned that it would have that personal touch, that would be that intimacy that we would have. So I backed it up with a lot of private coaching sessions. Well, I got the same results. People were happy with their experience. They made some major shifts in their lives. I mean, it was transformational. But I also learned something for myself about when you're willing to pivot, when you're willing to change, when you're willing to come up and be creative and come out of your box of, this is how I've always done it, how am I going to do it now? And I realized, oh my gosh, I just learned the value of Zoom, the value of a video conferencing platform. Oh my gosh, I don't have to hunt down a facility. I don't have that cost. I don't have to pay facilitators. I don't have to print handout materials. That's all downloadable. I can record everything so that the participants can have a takeaway. There were so many more advantages to me. Plus, I have a global audience, right? So
Yes,
because I
yes,
need to work
yes.
the time zone, I work the time zone and I have clients all over the world. And so as long as I'm willing to start my day at 4 or 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm good to go and I have business. So pivoting, I think about basketball and sports. If you're rigid, you can't play basketball. You have to bob and weave and you
That's
have
right.
to know how to pivot, spin and turn and be, anticipate.
That's
If you
right.
just stand there frozen in fear, you're going to get knocked down. And so
Right.
that's the value of pivoting and learning. And I think this is very important for all businesses. Okay. Business owners now are looking at, okay, how can they stay in business and how can they deliver products and services to their clients in a different way? And video conferencing is one of the platforms. How can they hire people or use the employees that they have? They can do it remotely. More and more businesses are offering remote jobs now.
That's right.
Whether it's customer service or call centers or data entry, billing and coding, whatever it is, can be done remotely. So
Right.
employers are saying, whoa, okay, this is doable. This is working as long as my customers are being taken care of. What we've also learned from COVID is that from a coaching standpoint, people need to be seen, heard, and valued. That's what's really important. And the COVID has thrown everything off. We're shelter in place. We don't get to be with our family and friends. We have the fear factor going on. So being able to reach a business and having that business owner or that contact talk to you, recognize you, be willing to spend time with you, help you through whatever the situation is really, really, really important now. So I think more and more businesses really need to examine how they're delivering their customer service. How are they reaching out to their customer base? Now, there's a lot of people out there who have been furloughed, or they've been furloughed and then they've been given a severance package, or their job just doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
It's
Right.
just gone.
Yeah, well, and that's one of those that I wanted to talk to you about was, that you've got people, and let's take furloughed or just laid off, right? That, that now they're looking and saying, well, wait, what do I do? I don't know how to do. In fact, there's a bunch of people, when we start talking about people over the age of 60, there's a whole bunch of people that say, well, I don't know computers. I don't do computers. And,
Exactly.
what do I do? What are my options? What would you say to those kinds of people?
So I have several clients that fall exactly into this category. And so I'm going to one in particular. He was probably around 55 years old, between 55 and 60. And he had become an IT security specialist for a big company. And and that company had clients all over the place. So they took him out of the game. And so in the beginning, he thought, oh, I got a nice severance package, and I'll just coast for a while. Well, it didn't work for him. Now, some people are ready to retire, and then others have that work gene that says, I don't want to stop yet.
I got to go do something, right? I can't sit around. I have to go do something.
And so in the conversation, it was, okay, so tell me what you're good at. And so he told me. I said, well, here's the truth. The truth is that your chances of somebody hiring you at the salary that you left from is slim to none. It's not going to happen. Okay? Now, can you see yourself as the guru? Can you see yourself as the IT security expert? Have you developed expertise from the experience of 25 years? Well, yes, I can. Okay, so how many companies do you believe would hire you per project to work with them? Maybe they can't afford you 24/7 and put you on their payroll, but would they be willing to bring you on for certain specific projects over a period of time? Well, I have okay, you have several. Okay, so then how many clients would you need to make those numbers work for you? And so then that's when we begin to shift and we become a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, that mindset, rather than being an employee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you can do this right now. You can do, there's so many things that are available to people to start a business. It's just incredible. First of all, you have the internet.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn technology on YouTube videos.
That's right.
You can learn anything. Everything is on YouTube videos. So you can learn that. You need some coaching. And if you get a business coach, somebody that says, okay, this is what you're going to need to do to get your ducks in a row, because somebody who's never been in business, they may not know this. And then when I work with my clients in this situation, I want to get them doing what they want to do, seeing that it is profitable and doable. And then we do all the other stuff. Then we start spending money. We don't do it until we're making money.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to go out and get any licenses or web pages or business cards or printing materials, any of that. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that this idea that we have is doable.
Yeah, we have to make sure that it is a what do we call it? We essentially want to verify it. We want to make sure that somebody's actually willing to pay for it before we necessarily spend all that money.
We have to test it. We're going to put in the testing kitchen. We're going to test this new recipe out and make sure that it's doable. And I had a client this morning who had a degree in psychology, and she was thinking that maybe she needed to shift gears and she needed to become an educator so that she could teach her kids at home because of this COVID situation. And I said, wait a minute, you have a degree in psychology? She said, I have a bachelor's in psychology. I said, okay, so how would you like to do a side hustle? What do you mean a side hustle? I said, well, how would you like to get clients, not patients? How would you like to get clients right now that you could help them through COVID crisis, the stress, managing it? What do I do? Who do I talk to? My husband and I are together all the time, 24/7. We thought we loved each other, but now we're kind of looking at each other like, oh, no. I said, you have the training to speak into that. It opened up a whole new world to her. She hadn't thought about that.
Right.
I said, so you do it by baby steps. You just go out and test the words. You just post something on your Facebook page. Anybody having a struggle right now, contact me.
So now you said something there that I think is really important that I want to make sure we don't miss. And that is the shift in mindset from employee to being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or whatever, but to being in business for yourself. That is a tough shift sometimes for a lot of people.
Okay, so if you're very analytical, okay, if you're very analytical, you like rules and regulations, you like structure, you like knowing what to do and a path to follow. And when you're an entrepreneur, you get out of being the engineer, the engineer mentality, and you have to move over to the pioneer mentality. The pioneer is going to go up the mountain, not knowing what's up at the mountain and how to get up the mountain. But that pioneer spirit is going to say, I'm going to do this. And it can be very unsettling for somebody who has that engineer type of mindset because they want the rules, regs, and so forth. So again, it is the coaching aspect that helps the client understand that they can get through it, that they can do it, if they can see the results that they can create, which is what they want. I want the ability to make money. I want the ability to make money from home and not have to travel anywhere. I'm working with clients in Wisconsin, and they're saying, I don't want to drive a half an hour or 45 minutes in winter on these roads. Go, oh, okay, well, let's just take a look at what you can create for yourself. So when you paint the end result picture that they want, that they can see it, visualization is magical. So when they see that end result and they can look forward to it, and then you give them those baby steps on how they can move to get it, that they can call the shots on their time. They can work time zones that they had never thought of working, that they don't have to be in their own little community. They can go global. They can pick and choose, and they can spend more time with family, friends, grandchildren, gardening, whatever it is that they want to do. All of a sudden they go like, oh. And it's surprising how many of this particular group of people, and I think it's a generational thing, so many men had a dream of what they wanted to do when they were little boys.
Mm-hmm.
And then life took over. And somebody told them that they should be this or they should do that. And so they followed orders. And then life continued to take over. Pretty soon, either the military came into play, or they suddenly were married and they had a wife and they had children and they had responsibilities. And now whatever they dreamt about doing when they were a little guy is gone.
Mm-hmm.
This really gives people an opportunity to go back to those early dreams and say, is it doable now? Can I do that now at this stage of my life? There's a great philosophy that is practiced in Okinawa, Japan, and it's called Ikigai. And there's a great talk on Google or YouTube videos on this, Ikigai.
Spell that again?
Ikigai, Ikigai. And it means living your purpose. So they did a study, and there's 5 places around the world, and this is one of them. I think they're called blue zones, where the average population lives well over 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So researchers went there to interview these people, like, why, what do you base your longevity on? And so they discovered this philosophy called Ikigai, where people lived their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe they didn't build a career on their purpose, but they made sure their life was filled with purpose, whether it was music or creating, writing, whatever. So the best of the best world, what I would wish for all of my clients is their job was their Ikigai. Yes. The second would be that they have a job that utilizes their skills or talents or experiences, that makes them feel good, it fulfills them, and it gives them the time and the resources to do their purpose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that's blessed that I get paid to do what I love to do.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Let's talk for a second here about coaching, because I think that maybe a lot of people really don't understand the value behind coaching. I understood it. It was, I think it was 2004, maybe somewhere around that time frame, when I was running my martial arts school in the Denver, Colorado area. And I was a brand new school owner. I had really no idea how to run a school. I'd been an instructor for several years, but being an instructor is very different from being the school owner. And moving along, I remember listening to this guy one time that gave some fantastic advice or guidance on a free conference call kind of a thing. And I ended up joining his program. And his program, it was a hard pill for me to swallow. It was $1,000 a month. Okay. Mm-hmm. To bite this off. And I'm going, okay, I'm not making enough money right now. $1,000 a month. Holy moly. But we went from $18,000 a month gross revenue to $22,000 a month gross revenue almost in a month's time. It was almost immediate. And literally we continued to grow under that coaching program to, my best month ever was a $50,000 month, but we probably averaged like 35 to 42, somewhere in there. But all of that came through that coaching program, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was the education. That was the eye opener that said, oh my gosh, I never realized coaching could make that much of a difference, right? What's your take on coaching? Why would how can coaching help a business? I mean, I just gave one example, but what's your take?
So the purpose of a coach is to support the client achieving whatever their goals are. Mm-hmm. So that's the first step, is gaining clarity on what is it that you want to do? What are the challenges that you're facing? And do you have anybody in your life, any influencers that, are not on board with you? Or how does that look? Because you want to have a really big, clear picture. Then the other value of having a coach is you have that one person that you can be totally authentic with, no filters. The coaches, we sit in a non-judgment zone. You have the ability, the freedom, the safe space to say whatever you want to say, get it off your chest, get it expressed, whatever you need to do, so that we can keep moving forward. So you have that opportunity to be seen, heard, and valued. Then when you work with a coach, there's a relationship that's created, and you know that there is one person out there that truly believes in you. Here in Las Vegas, we have a saying that, you're all in. We push the chips in. We're all in. And so what a coach can do is to help their client be very, very clear on what they want to do and help them be all in. Not just a little bit in, but all in. And when you're all in and you have the mindset to make that commitment, that you have somebody that believes in you, that they see the potential in you, even if you can't see the potential, but they say to you, look, I can see it. Trust me, trust my belief, even if it's only for a little bit, and just see the shift that happens. You work with that person, and the person that you're working with, a coach, we don't have any other agenda. All we want is the success of our clients, period. And so there's magic in that kind of a relationship. Also, it's that one person that's going to tell you the truth, not going to buy into your bullshit. The person that's going to keep you on track, whether it's a gentle nudge or okay, come on, where is your integrity, and are you being impeccable with your word? First of the 4 agreements. To be mindful. Sometimes when you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, you just have me, myself, and I to work with.
That's right.
And it's good to have another set of eyes. Another way of having a perspective, somebody to hold us accountable, somebody to remind us of what our vision is. Because sometimes when we get hit with a challenge, the vision that we had is like gone. It's like, it gets sidetracked. Life can throw us curves and we get sidetracked. That's the value of a coach, to move you forward. The word coach comes from the word stagecoach. And it means that the coach is going to help you get from point A to point B. So it's all about movement and action and accomplishments. It's not just a friendly chit-chat conversation. It's not a conversation to make you feel good. You can go to a therapist for that, and you can be in therapy for years. You're not going to be working with a coach for years because you're going to be accomplishing your goals and moving on, what you did.
That is fantastic. Now, how do you pick a good coach?
Okay, so every good coach has a coach. Number one. Okay. And you want to know where they got their training. I was trained by a woman, Dr. Cherie Carter Scott, who is considered the mother of coaching. And she created this format of coaching long before coaching was even talked about. She really created the coaching profession. And she had her work looked at by psychiatrists and psychologists to make sure that she wasn't crossing the medical line there, into therapy. And what we do as coaches is we don't tell our clients what to do. So you can't come to me and ask me for advice. I'm not going to give you advice. I'm not going to give you your answer. I'm going to help you discover your own answer. And that's what a good coach does. Most coaches know and tell. Good coaches ask and listen. Ask and listen. Always coming back to, well, how do you feel about that? What resonates with you? What feels right for you? What feels right for your best and highest self? Allowing that person to connect to, their answer channel. We all have one. Okay, so if the coach is asking you to buy into their belief systems or wanting to spend a lot of money on high ticket programs, no. You'll know, and I always say most professional coaches, we offer complimentary coaching sessions for 2 reasons. Number one, we want to make sure that the person that we're going to be taking on as a client is somebody that's coachable. Because if they're not coachable and they're stuck on being stuck, then it's a waste of time
for everybody. And money for them.
For everybody. And so I'm not willing to do that. So the complimentary coaching session also gives that person the opportunity to go like, do I want to work with her? How do I feel about her? How do I feel about him? There has to be a rapport. There has to be a feeling like, yeah, I want to work with this person. Okay. And then I always say, trust your judgment. And I always say, you have the right to fire me. If you're not getting the results and you're not happy with what's going on, okay, we're going to end our relationship. But be mindful that if you're not doing what you say you're going to do and you're not doing your end of the heavy lifting, your responsibilities, I'm going to fire you.
That's right. Wow. Well, Joy, this 30 minutes went by super fast. That was such a great discussion there. That's amazing. Now I've got your information scrolling across the bottom of the screen so that if anybody that wants to get in touch with you, they can find you there. But you also have an offer, and I signed up for this myself. I love this. I'm going to put this on the screen. So tell us a little bit more about what this is.
So this is to receive my motivational messages. But unlike most motivational messages, this comes with an action step. Remember, coaching is all about taking action in your life. So one of my favorite quotes is from Jimmy Johnson, the football coach. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. Okay. I used to use it as my tagline. I would say, be the extra. So that would be the action step. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra. What little extra can you add to your day-to-day?
Yeah, I love it. I'm getting those every day, and they show up and they have these great little action steps. And to be honest, sometimes I don't take those action steps, but I look at those and I say, wow, you know what? That's a great idea. And at times I forward them on to other people.
Thank you.
People that I notice that I know maybe has a need, or we had a conversation that this particular quote matches up for, that I send it on to those people and suggest that they subscribe, right? So it's pretty easy to subscribe, right? It's just text Coach Joy to 31996 and you'll start receiving those, right? So
absolutely. It's just a nice gift that you can give yourself that will help you be your best self. You know? A reminder.
Well, very good. Thank you very much for coming on and talking with me today. I really do appreciate it. Are there any last words or anything that you'd like to leave with the audience before we officially sign off?
So I would want the listeners to be mindful that what you think you are, you are. That's the power of your thoughts. You know, if you think you live in a world of abundance, you do. And if you think you live in a world of scarcity, that's your reality too. So really pay attention to what you're thinking. Think great thoughts.
That is fantastic. That reminds me of one of my very favorite quotes, Henry Ford, and this won't be exact, but it's close enough. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right.
Yes, that is it. That's the power of our thoughts. We're absolutely. And also remember, life works better with joy.
Yes, I love that tagline. Life works better with joy. So very good. So thank you very much. Joy Huntsman, once again, joining us today for this very enlightening conversation. Thank you so much, Coach Joy. And thank you, viewers, for joining me today as well. I appreciate you being here. Now, be sure to subscribe, like, follow, whatever it is, based on whatever platform you're on. We're on we're not all three. There are a lot of platforms. We're on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope. So wherever you are watching this, make sure that you like, subscribe, or follow so that you can join me the next time that I'm on. So for now, be safe. And I will see you next time. So now, Coach Joy, you hang on for a minute. Don't go anywhere. And